Today, House Democrats trying to demand a vote for middle-class tax cuts. Is this just an attempt to embarrass the Republican majority, which has been considering the same thing? Florida Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz is a member of the House Budget Committee and will continue to serve as chair of the Democratic National Committee. And she joins me now. The president has endorsed you for another term. Congratulations. That will be an official vote at the winter meeting. So that means you've got the wonderful task of trying again in the next 2 years to keep the Democrats on top and regain the House. And how the Democrats handle this issue of the budget, taxes and budgets, it's going to be a big piece of how people vote in 2 years, presumably, as well as in other races around the country. What is the House Democratic position right now on what Speaker Boehner presented last night?
Well, first of all, Andrea, it's been an honor to serve as the Democratic National Committee chair at President Obama's request for the last 18 months, and I'm looking forward to building off of the success that we had in the election in November and helping the president to continue to rebuild this economy from the middle class out. And that's really what the crux of this fiscal cliff negotiation, what these fiscal cliff negotiations are all about. They're about fairness. When the president and congressional Democrats talk about the need for a balanced approach to deficit reduction and to dealing with the fiscal cliff, we're talking about fairness. We're talking about making sure that if you work hard and play by the rules, that everyone has a chance to succeed. That the middle class needs certainty right now. Speaker Pelosi and my colleague Congressman Tim Walz filed a discharge petition today to take the bill that we have that has already passed the Senate that grants certainty to the middle class, to take that bill up and make sure that we can extend the middle class tax breaks right now, before the holidays, where we can give. That's what everyone agrees on. I don't know any Republican or Democrat that thinks that we should let those tax cuts for the middle class expire. So we should pass that now. And then on the things that we're having more trouble agreeing on, we should sit down at the table. The one thing that I can assure you is that the president and Democrats in Congress have consistently said, we're not going to do this, that there is no my way or the highway. We have concrete proposals and compromise on the table. Thus far, though, we have Republicans who have dug in and who are insisting that there's no way that they're going to support increasing the rates on the wealthiest Americans. That's unacceptable.
Let me just play for you what the president just said in this interview within the hour with Bloomberg TV.
On entitlement reform, I don't expect Republicans to agree to any plan where they're just betting on the come that entitlement reform will happen. We'd have to have some specific down payments now, recognizing that we would then have to continue to work to see if we can come up with even better ideas to reduce health care costs over the long term.
Are you willing to work with the president to go up against AARP to bring House Democrats along for specific cuts in some of the most popular programs with your constituents?
The savings that we already know that we can continue to add on that we achieved in the Affordable Care Act. We know
beyond that, Congresswoman, you've got to go beyond that if you're going to get anything from the other side.
Well, look, we already had $716 billion in savings achieved from the Affordable Care Act, which added 8 years of solvency, Andrea. The president, in his proposal, put $600 billion in entitlement savings on the table. And we know, look, before we start, we do not need and should not be talking about benefit cuts, which is what the Republicans put on the table in their letter, until we know that we have looked at every opportunity to achieve savings in the entitlement programs that we have now. And we know that there's a lot more that can be done. But the Republicans, for some strange reason, are going right to benefit cuts first. I mean, the Speaker Boehner's letter today immediately proposes increasing the eligibility age for folks on Medicare to 67. We should agree that before we even get to the possibility of dealing with anything that approaches benefit cuts, we have to achieve the savings that we know we can still wring out of those programs. And there are hundreds of billions of dollars in savings, which adds years of life to Medicare that we know we can achieve. That's a reasonable suggestion. We should start there first. If we have to keep going further, then we should have more conversations about that.
Let me quickly ask you about a report that Hillary Clinton and Mike Bloomberg talked. He approached her about running for mayor of New York, and apparently she was not interested in that after his term is up in 2013. The State Department's not denying that conversation took place. What do you think of the idea as Democratic chairman?
I think that I have so much respect and admiration for Hillary Clinton. Secretary Clinton has done an amazing job as Secretary of State. I know that she's earned and deserves and is looking forward to the well-earned rest that she's planning to take. And she's an incredible leader who has a tremendous future as a leader of the United States of America.
Well, if you looked at the video that introduced her at the Saban Forum on Friday night here, a lot of people are suggesting that well-earned rest is only going to be a prelude to something else down the road and not very far down the road.
Well, we'll give her a little bit of time to rest, and then I'm sure that she'll be pressed into service. And knowing Secretary Clinton, I'm sure she doesn't plan to rest very long.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman.